Good day, everyone. Good day. Hope you are good. This morning I woke up from a dream, and I don't mean to be coming to y'all like the TikTok people. Every day they have a word from God. But this morning I woke up from a serious dream. It was Grand Bahama, my island, my home, which I love dearly. Um, I was in the car in my Jeep. My husband was driving, my mom was in the front seat, me and my second daughter Shannon was in the middle, in the in the middle, and it was like we came from Port Lugaya area. I think we were picking up my mom, and when we couldn't get through Encore Road. We had to go through, I don't know the area name, but the area right across from um, KFC. The road would land you right on East Sunrise Highway, just up from the roundabout. And when we came through, I looked to my right where the roundabout would be, and it wasn't the roundabout, it was the stoplight that used to be there. And what I saw over there were like hundreds of people, like a few lines, rows of people that in the rows they were holding hands. I could see that they was holding hands, but I couldn't see how far the lines went. But I knew it was a lot of people, and we couldn't go that way, so we turned left to go onto Freeport High area. And as we traveled the road slowly, we took a look left and right. We could see that on the trees, on the buildings, whatever walls, whatever bush was in the area, there were red markings. It was painted red. The whole building wasn't painted red, but it was like a slash of red or paint, like someone just took a paintbrush and did a red, that hand movement of red. And on the trees, there was like red Christmas lights, only red. Everything was red. Excuse me. And as we continued, we passed Rupert High, we still could see more red. Red, blinking lights, and the tree is red. As we journeyed up, my daughter said she wanted pizza. That's her favorite food at the moment. And so my husband decided to call Domino's. When he called Domino's, it was a little hard to get the order in because the person on the other line was so surprised, I guess. They were so unsettled. It was like they didn't have a call that day. And so it took him a while to place the order. And so we continued on that road so that we could go to Domino's, so we could go up by Focal and go. And still continuing, still on that road. Like, it was like a journey, even though on that road would take you maybe, but I don't know, after you pass Boulevard and all that, maybe 5 minutes. But in the dream, it felt like we were like just on a slow journey. And once we got to before Focal, there started to be barricades in the road, so we could no longer drive on the road. So my husband went left into the grass near where that lodge hall, I don't know the name of the lodge hall, is right before the corner you would turn to go into Cabaret Beach, or right before the bulletins and everything, right before Burger King and Pollo and all that. So when actually night had fallen, so we couldn't even see the things that were in the grass. I couldn't really see. So he started to speed up because he didn't see anything in the grass. He was just trying to get past the barricade so that we could get to Domino's. And I told him to stop. I said, stop. There are things in the grass, little small miniature things. And at the time, I couldn't see a face, or I couldn't see anything other than these look like small statues, like to me, miniature statues. And so he reversed. When he reversed, somehow, some way, we were able to get to Domino's. When we got to the R&D cinema, that parking lot, it was empty. When I say no cars, no other car was actually on the road with us either as we were journeying along. There were no cars in the parking lot, and he parked, he went into Domino's. And when he came back out, he said those people were so surprised that we came there. He said nobody came to this plaza all day, nobody ordered a pizza all day. It was like Freeport was shut down, like no business was doing that day. It was no business at all. And I didn't see any red anymore. I remember when he came out into the car, I called my sister because I wanted to know if she heard anything about the decoration and the people. They were not protesting. All they were doing was standing there. The atmosphere was real mournful, like they were mourning, but I didn't understand what they were mourning. I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know the reason they had set up. I didn't know anything. We didn't know anything. We just literally came from Patlakaya, came out into the main highway and saw these people. And it felt like they weren't crying, but it felt like a sorrowful situation. And the red caught us off guard because we were like, who would do this and why? Like, why would the people paint literally the streets red? Why would they do that? And so when we called at Domino's, when we called my sister, she didn't know either. She said she was headed home from work, and she would just meet us there home. So we came off the phone, and right after that, the dream ended. And when I woke up, I said, God, what is that? I have never had a dream like that. I've never had the closest dream. No, that wouldn't even be a closest dream, because I was about to say about COVID, right? Like a couple months before COVID, I dreamt that there was a time, I knew that there was a time in our nation, in the country, where we only could have small weddings and funerals, right? So it wasn't even like that. It wasn't even like that because I didn't know what was going on in that dream. But in this dream, it had a little bit more details. But I didn't know the reason. And so my first question when I woke up, I'm like, God, what happened? What happened in Grand Bahama? Was it a hurricane? Was it a... So it felt like devastation, something to make people turn their hearts back to God. And I'm like, God, what is the red? Right? And he didn't answer me. He didn't tell me what had happened in Grand Bahama to cause this coming together or this assembling of people. He didn't say anything. But what he did say, he said, the red is my blood. The red that they painted Grand Bahama with represents my blood. Excuse me. And he said, Grand Bahama needs my blood. Grand Bahama needs to turn back. He said this week, this nice holy week we had just last week coming into yesterday, he said all week was supposed to be about me coming to the cross, shedding my blood for everyone. He said, but the people go to church. They go to church and they celebrate and they praise and they sing, and then that's it. He said, they don't even think about it after they come out of church. They have no other thought about it. Or they go back into their regular traditions, their regular Easter traditions, their regular holiday traditions, the beach. And I went to the beach too yesterday, okay? The regular things coming together to have a party. That's all it's about. He said the blood, they don't know the power, they don't know the anointing, they don't know the authority of the blood. And also, I got down on my knees this morning and he brought the scripture. He said, if my people who are called by my name, and I had to look it up, would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear their cry. And I hear them in heaven, and I will heal their land. And I say, Grand Bahama needs a healing, God. Grand Bahama needs release. He said, what you saw, those people standing in that road together, he said, what you saw was Grand Bahama. The people of Grand Bahama, that's the most humble that they ever were. He said, hurricanes have passed, floods have passed, fires have passed, and Grand Bahama will not humble itself. It still holds on to the glory days. Oh, the magic city I never meet. The magic city that I hear the generations before me talking about. the Magic City, they still hold on to that, hoping that would come back. But what Grand Bahama needs to do is humble itself and plead my blood, turn back to my blood. One last question I had, I said, God, what were the things in the grass? What were those the things? He said, those are the idols that they have in their homes. He said, every person who was standing on that line, before they went to that line, they had to drop their idols. They had to drop their idols right by that lodge hall. Right by that lodge hall. He said, these are the idols that they have in their homes. These are the idols that they have in their hearts. But they got to drop them before my blood could have any power, any authority, anything over their lives. They must drop those idols. And I wasn't going to do a video. Excuse me. I wasn't going to do a video. Because I'm like, God, I don't want to be, coming every day doing a video. I don't want to be that person. But he asked me, he said, will you tell my people that they need to humble themselves? Will you tell my people that my blood is still real, that my blood still holds the power, that my blood still washes and cleanses and has healing power? It literally is the only thing that will save us. Grand Bahama, it literally is the only thing that will save us. We've been wrapped up in ourselves for a long time. We've been wrapped up in our idols for a long time. We've been wrapped up in everything else, in our traditions. In our traditions, and not just Easter traditions. All the traditions, just regular. I had to add one more portion because when I went back into my notes, I realized that there was another question. And the very last question I did ask was, how come me and my family didn't know what the whole island was planning? We didn't know anything about standing up with your hands together. And it wasn't in protest, they were just there in like a vigil. It was more like something happened and they needed to assemble. And I asked them, how come we weren't there? How come we didn't know anything? And it wasn't just the people in my car. It was my sister as well. She didn't know anything. And he said, that was you traveling with my spirit. That was you traveling with my hedge. That was you traveling with me. And I had you to see all of that. I had you to see all of that. To see the blood, to see the red. And you know what? I wasn't scared in the dream. I wasn't even scared when I woke up. I was concerned. I was concerned because I'm like, why? Like, what happened? What awful thing happened to make Grand Bahama come together? And it's bad that I have to think that something awful has to happen to get us to come together as one. But he wants us to move by his spirit. By his spirit, be his body, one spirit. We usually say one God, one people, one Bahamas. But do we really believe that? Do we really just have one God? Do we really just have one God in this Bahama land? The only living God. He says, humble yourself. Humble yourself, Grand Bahama, lest I humble you. And if he have to do it, if God has to humble you, in individuals, if God has to humble you, you know you're going through the ringer. So imagine our island. We've been through stuff already. But we still turn right back to our regular. We still turn right back to our regular traditions. This is a cry. This is a call. This is a plead from God to plead the blood over our island. Plead the blood over your children. Plead the blood over your sisters, over your brothers, all the men, all the women. Plead the blood over our schools. Plead the blood over our churches. Plead the blood over your homes. Plead the blood over every organization, godly and ungodly. Plead the blood. We need His Spirit. We need His blood to save us. It's the only thing. It's the only thing. I hope that this blessed somebody. And if you're wondering who I am, to feel like I could just come out here and say this, I want you to know that I'm not doing this on my own. I would never do this on my own. I want you to know that I'm just trying to be obedient. I'm not trying to be seen. I'm not trying to be heard. I'm not trying to be known. But if the Most High says, do it, I said I would do it. If He says, say it, I said I would say it. And if you really, really need to know about me, you ask Him about me. You ask Him to reveal who I am. That's the only way you will probably take it for truth anyway. God bless all of you. Continue to plead the blood. Continue to plead the blood. Continue to be a light in this dark world. I am about my Father's business.